I've experienced everything from full-blown, full-body apparitions to I got punched in the kidneys one time. I've seen mists, I hear voices all the time. No, I'm not on medication. A lot of times I'll just lay down in bed and you'll start to hear the trustees that used to mop the main hallway. The first couple times it happened, I thought, oh geez, did I, lock a group of ghost hunters in here by mistake?
The history around Mansfield Reformatory goes back long before it was actually built. The land that it was built on was originally a camp during the Civil War, named Camp Mordecai Bartley. The planning for the prison began actually in the 1880s, but the prison door opened in 1896, and 150 prisoners were housed there originally. By the 1930s, there was actually a severe problem with overcrowding in the prison. You were getting 2-3 people to a cell. In the 1980s, the overcrowding continued and it was actually deemed unfit to remain open as a prison. So they began the process of closing it, which it finally did in December of 1990. All told, there were probably over 200 deaths actually associated with the place, both inmates who died in various circumstances and guards who had been killed within the line of duty there.
Over the past month, we've been noticing a lot more activity in different areas that aren't your stereotypical hotspots. We've had things in the central guard room and the bullpen that have been happening. They can go wherever they want. They're just people without bodies. I've been lately experiencing slamming doors when nobody else is here. It's not the wind, because a lot of the doors that sound like they're slamming are already closed.
From 1935 to 1959, the prison superintendent was a man by the name of Arthur Gladke. Warden Gladke's wife was killed in a tragic accident when a handgun fell from a closet that she was getting something out of and went off and shot her. Contrary to the popular belief, she didn't actually die in the prison. She was actually taken to a nearby hospital and died several hours later. Warden Gladke himself suffered a heart attack in 1959 in his office in the prison. Again, he did not die in the prison itself, but died several days later in the hospital.
Up in the third floor West Administration, I've shown the last handful of people around on a ghost hunt. It was about 4:30 in the morning. And got up into the area, didn't feel anything. Didn't seem like anything was going on. And I'm just standing there in the main hallway. And next thing I know, I'm punched in the left kidney, puts me down on the ground. It left a bruise. And it went from showing these people around the building to, okay, how do I get these people out of here without having this thing go after them too? I wasn't really afraid for myself. I was more afraid of whatever it was going after the guests that were here that night. Startled? Hey, yeah, I was startled. Because usually you get the feeling that something's going to happen. Yeah, that was just out of the blue. We don't get very many physical attacks in here, especially in that area, but we have been noticing a lot more noises up there, a lot more footsteps. There seems to be something up there that likes to play hide and seek with you.
Phoebe Wise was a resident of a house nearby. There were rumors that she had a treasure in her house, which many people attempted to get, including several men who broke into her house and held her at gunpoint and actually tortured her for information on this treasure that she was supposed to have had. She actually staggered down the road and came to the reformatory for help after she got free of these men. Her ghost is said to now walk on Reformatory Road right outside the gates of the prison.
My favorite area, that's sort of a trick question because it changes all the time. Sometimes I'll just be pulled to the east cell block here. Sometimes I'll be pulled into solitary confinement. Sometimes it's the warden's quarters. It changes all the time. But if I personally want to experience something, a lot of times I'll go to the back half of solitary confinement. That is where I personally experience the most things.
The prison itself from outside architecturally resembles a castle. This was a deliberate choice on the part of the architects who built the prison. They were attempting to make this place look as imposing as it could be for prisoners going into the prison. And they wanted the prisoners to see that there was very little hope of them escaping from such a place as this. In an odd contrast, the grounds of the place were actually kept very, very pristine and actually very decorated. There is even still a pond there with a small gazebo and a flower garden.
All right, so this is solitary confinement?
It's actually a combination. It was a solitary confinement. Cells are in the first half of this, and then detention or death row or local control are actually in the back part of this cell block. And then above us, on a whole range, are cells that are also considered death row cells. But for the most part, the solitary confinement cells were the first 6 on this side and then 6 on the other side.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that does happen or occurs?
And anything from goosebumps to overall feelings of dread, feelings of impending doom, things like that. I mean, this was a terrible place to be in. When the inmates came down here, especially in the early years of the prison's life, it was 98 degrees back here year-round. It was totally dark back here. They didn't have the windows. They didn't have the little windows that are in the cell doors back here. So it was a pretty foreboding place to have to come down to as an inmate. And then, of course, they locked you in these cells, and your only contact was when they opened up the holes in the door to give you your tray to feed you your food. There was actually an instance that took place down in one of the death row cells where the prison system came down here and they brought other inmates down and put them in with death row inmates. Over the course of an evening, one of the guys on death row killed his cellmate and stuffed him underneath the mattress and was sleeping on top of it.
All right, so where do we go now?
Why don't we take a walk to, how about the west cell block? The west cell block's got some pretty weird stories with it too.
Okay, after you.
All right. Well, right now we're standing on what was called 1 Northwest. This is the first floor, north side of the west cell block. The west cell block was actually the first cell block that was constructed here at the Reformatory. And it was one of the very first instances of them using inmate labor inside the building itself. There are roughly about 350 cells, and most of the cells here were designed for 2 people to a cell. So you had a population here of about 700 people. This was the cell block you wanted to be on. The cells are a little bigger. You can see that they have a window and a pillar on them. And you could hide behind that pillar, or you could hide underneath the windows, and you'd have a little bit of privacy. Cells over on the east side are completely open. You have a handrail at each level, where versus the east side, you have bars on the outside all the way up top to bottom. You actually had more deaths per capita on this side than what you did on that side. And one of the biggest reasons for that was the actual handrails. If the inmates were going out to chow, somebody said something about you, your mom, your family you didn't like, and you gave them a push, they came right over the handrail. Yeah. There was actually an inmate who hung himself off of one of the tiers. And a lot of people, when they come through on ghost hunts, will say that they've seen somebody dangling in the breeze out off one of the tiers. People get strange feelings on this side. They feel like there's people here. Women who come through on tours, whether it be a ghost hunt or whether it be in the middle of the day, they tend to feel more of a presence. You know, somebody breathing down their neck, somebody flipping their hair, things like that take place here.
Okay, so where are we going now?
Why don't we go to the east side for a little bit of comparison so we can see kind of the difference between the two and you get an idea of what I'm talking about as far as security and size and things like that for the cell blocks themselves.
Okay.
All right?
All right, that's good.
What can you tell us about this place?
Well, the east cell block they started about 1910, 1911. And like I said, they switched from stone over here to steel. And when they did that, they went 6 stories high. And now they're able to accommodate 1,200 people on this side. There was a gentleman that was set on fire in his cell one time. He had lighter fluid squirted on him and then lit, and the fire actually came out of the cell, and it was so intense that it actually touched the outside walls, burning out of here.
Wow.
If there was a way to get these cells started to burn because of the layers of paint on them, he said you wouldn't believe how that cell burned. Over here on the east side, there's a system of rollers in the header up here. And the guards worked at the end of the cell block, and they would actually roll those cell doors open and closed. Inmates used to love to stand in the doorway and play chicken with each other. They'd sit and watch as that door closed. And these doors, it wasn't a whole lot of power. You wouldn't think with somebody turning a handle would make a big difference. But these doors don't bounce back open like a cell door does. We've heard stories where they've actually had an arm caught in the doorway or something else like that too over here. You know, to say that one place is more activity than another one, this whole building has activity in it. It just depends when you catch it, when you see it.
Okay, so where are we going now?
Well, we can take a step up. Unfortunately, you know, we don't have elevators in the building. It was never designed really for them. But we go up a couple flights of stairs here. We'll find ourselves in the central guard room.
Okay, all right.
The central guard room was the main, really, communications place. It's the hub of the whole building. From this central guard room, you can, of course, see both directions up and down the east cell block. You can communicate with all the guards who work up and down the ranges. This was a visiting area, and sometimes when inmates came here for the first time, this was their first stop. The big thing that a lot of people remember about this room that have been here when there were inmates in here is the smell. You had 1,900 guys in these cell blocks, and they're getting a shower one day a week. The body odor smell in here was terrible. Now, this room did serve as a visiting area one day out of the month. And on those days, visitors came in the front door and they were searched. But once they passed the search, they came up here and they set tables and chairs up in this room. And the visitors were allowed to have an all-day long visit with their inmates if they wanted to. One of the instances for the prison, there was an inmate here who actually killed his spouse in this room also on a visiting day where they weren't being too well supervised, but it actually took place here in the corner of this room too.
All right, so where do we go now?
Well, now comes the fun part. We're going to climb a few sets of stairs and go up to the chapel and then up to the infirmary too.
Okay.
For the largest part of the prison's life, this was the focus point for the religious reform of the inmates. Originally, there existed a balcony around the back side of this room, and with mostly folding chairs inside here, they could accommodate all 1,900 inmates up here for church services on Sundays. The inmates had to come to church. They didn't really have a choice in the matter. If they were going to go to all the trouble to reform the inmates as far as teaching them skills and things like that, they were also going to reform them as far as religion was concerned. Not only did the inmates come to church here, but the warden and his wife and their children and the deputy warden and his family, they came up, sat in the front row, and had church services here with the inmates as well, too. With the inmates here, this place was spotless. Matter of fact, this place was kept so clean that that's how one of the escape attempts for the prison was discovered. There were two inmates here working in the chapel, and they figured out that the preacher's cabinet just backed up against the wall. There was no back on it. So they figured out that they would maybe try to tunnel their way out that wall. Well, as they're scraping away at the plaster and the mortar and everything else, they created dust on the floor over a period of time, and somebody else noticed that and reported it. This place, when it was up and running at its peak capacity and peak efficiency, was about 95 to 96% self-sufficient. Everything was done here pretty much by inmate labor. Inmates didn't want to come back to this place. It wasn't a country club.
So where are we off to now?
I think we'll take you up to the TB ward or to the infirmary. There was actually a tuberculosis outbreak here at the prison. And anytime, of course, that you have a population that is in close confines with one another, diseases tend to spread pretty fast, pretty rampant through the area. And in order to try to squelch that, they brought inmates up here to the third floor to the infirmary and kind of housed them up here and saw them through their illnesses. Mm-hmm. This is one of the times that there were quite a few inmate deaths that took place up here because of the illness. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, they actually had a morgue downstairs in the basement underneath the administration wing as a temporary morgue for a little while.
During that epidemic, do they have an idea of how many people may have died up there?
Not an exact amount, because one of the questions we get asked about a lot is, how many people were killed, how many people died, how many people escaped, things like that. That's not something that was put out to the general public very often.
Right.
After all, this prison sits down in the middle of a community. And that's not what you want to do. You don't want to scare the community. Right. You don't want people knowing that there could be inmates out on the lam somewhere. I was in a house over here not too long ago talking to a lady who has lived there for her whole life, grew up there. And she said whenever there was activity, whenever there was something going on, you knew somebody got out. Because, just like you see in the movies, somebody would come over and steal the clothes off the clothesline. Somebody would come over and steal the vegetables out of the vegetable garden to eat. And of course there was a huge presence of police cruisers up and down the road and things like that. She goes, but you knew when somebody got out.
I saw something move over right there.
This light wasn't on when we first came down here.
It almost sounded like someone just took off running down here.
West cell block 53 is where they see that running man.
All right, camera 3, that's good.
Camera 1 we have set up in solitary confinement. We have it set up there because many prisoners have actually died there, and it's always been known to be a very depressing and dark area. Cameras 2 and 4 we have set up in the east and west cell blocks. We have those set up there because prisoners used to feel someone tucking them in, so we're going to see if we can try to catch any apparitions or any spirits that still roam the area. Camera 3 we have set up in the chapel. People have witnessed apparitions, heard whispers, stuff like that, so we're going to see if we can try to catch that tonight.
EVP session, west cell block, first floor. Time is 9:48. Eric and Scott are present.
Is there anybody in here with us that wishes to speak with us or speak to us? We would like to communicate with you. We would like to know if you're here with us right now.
I just saw a shadow down there.
Where at?
Down right outside of the bullpen. You can still see the light coming out from where we have tech set up, and there was just a shadow that moved in front of all of that down there.
Oh, really?
It was not complete. I could see everything from about 3 feet up, but there was nothing underneath, and it blocked out that light for a second.
Can you please come over and talk to us and give us a sign of your presence? If you do that, I will offer you a pack of cigarettes. This is something that I think you would like. Here's the smokes. And I promise you, they're yours. You can take them. It's a brand new pack. Here they are. And I have something else for you. Hear that? Gold coins. I have gold coins here. They're all for you. So along with the pack of smokes, I'm also putting in some candy bars, which I know those are hard to come by in here. Okay? They're all in this little black bag. I'm going to put these down right here, right on the floor, as a peace offering. Okay? I want you to come and get those, because they're yours. All you have to do is talk to us.
I just had a light out here, right over there on that pillar. And that thing going up there, the wall. The windows are farther down. It wouldn't have been shining on that wall.
What color?
White. Looked like a stream right there between those two vents. maybe I got some other stuff for you that might be interested. I'm your connection. Got some stuff here in this case that you might be interested in. Look at that. Now it's cocked. I'm going to put it out here. Why don't you pull the trigger of this? I just thought I heard metal clink, like the coins.
I just heard footsteps right over here. Huh, that was interesting. It almost sounded like someone just took off running down here, right down this little hallway.
Man, this would suck. You want to sit in one cell and I'll sit in another?
Yeah.
Which one's got a mattress? I'll sit over here. Okay, if there's any... It looked like that IR light down there got blocked out.
Which one?
The big one. It looked like it got totally blocked out.
Really?
Yeah. If there's anybody down there at the end of the hall, can you walk in front of the red light down there? Block it out again?
Is there anybody here?
Is that light coming from the mouth?
No. I think that's in the window. I was wondering that too. No, it's coming from this cell. Wait, this light wasn't on when we first came down here. Because this is the cell you were in. Because of the mattress and everything. That light wasn't on, remember?
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because I remember looking in here when we were walking down here. You said you wanted to sit one with a mattress, right?
Yeah, but then I sat on this one.
But I remember looking in here, the light wasn't on. I would have noticed it.
Yeah, I guess so, considering it lights up enough.
Yeah, but how does it turn on?
Do we make you nervous? Bet I heard some scuffling. Don't be afraid. Come sit with us. What in the world? It won't stop. Here. I can't go too far. There we go. Okay, that's weird that I turn it off and then turn it back on and it just stops. Could I have hit something?
It happened when you adjusted.
Even if I were to hit, I just hit like this, look. Sorry.
Sorry.
Even if I were to hit it like this, see? That's all it does. See?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's light play, but I keep on this second Here I keep seeing,
Flashes of light.
no, it's not flashes of light. It almost appears like I see partial shadow here and there up on the, but I don't know what it is. I just saw it over here just a minute ago.
Whoa.
What?
Just as you flipped on that light, I saw what looked like a shadow or something zip across the
Second?
second, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, that's what I thought I was seeing.
Probably just interference.
Let me try and recreate it again. So when I had the camera, I got up, went like this. Yeah. Okay.
I don't like these like random thingies hanging.
That doesn't comfort me too much.
No.
I don't think I like that. It's a little better.
You can start.
Religion.
Peace.
Sadness.
Penance.
I saw something move over right there.
So did I. Like right around when I said penance?
Do you know any church songs?
Are you kidding me? Yes. And I'm not about to sing them. Now that's what I'm talking about. Come on. Can you do that again?
Good job.
Peeling paint off. Come on, keep making noises, guys. Did you think that that would okay you and clear you of everything that you did? Like if you repented enough that maybe it'd be your one-way ticket?
Whoa.
What?
Behind the pew, I just saw like...
I didn't want to say anything, but I saw something right at the tip here. Just like a little shadowy, like almost something wasn't fully manifested. All right, so you need to tap on one of these pews wherever it is that you're at, because I really want to talk to you about why you would think that, you know, if you were out there doing all those crimes that got you here, why you would think that coming here would okay you and clear you of everything that you did. You didn't come here because you were a saint.
Is there something... Hold on. Oh, I don't know what that was. I just saw a dark spot.
Okay, pretend there's a bunch of women walking past your cell. What would you like to say to them? Can you whistle? If you guys make a noise, I will make sure that there are some girls that come up here tonight.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah,
Where you at?
right here.
Oh. Anything over here?
No. Ooh. Man, is there a spider in my hair? Or on my back? It feels like something like that.
Nothing. Like something crawling on you or someone touching you?
Yeah, and then on the hand. Ugh. I don't know, for being death row, man, these are nice compared to everywhere else.
Don't they usually try to make, I don't know, make people comfortable before they get killed?
Do you hear voices?
Like what?
I don't know, just voices.
I thought I heard some, but I thought it was maybe someone at tech or something.
That's Eric, isn't it?
Are they at tech?
I don't know.
I think they are.
I just saw a shadow.
No, temperature drops.
Ow! Man, I felt like I may have been shoved.
This was the death room. This is apparently where terminally ill patients used to be brought. And they would be brought into this room and, well, die. So it was nicknamed the death room.
Whoa, that was weird.
What was that?
It felt, on both of my legs, it felt like something pressed up on both of them at the same time. If that was you, I'd like you to do it again, please. Could you do that? I'm standing right here. It'll let me know that you're in here with us.
This is actually one of the doors up to one of the old guard towers. Very, very narrow. Did you just move?
No.
I just saw a shadow go past me, my shadow on the wall over here.
Really? Come on, don't be afraid.
Are you here? Eric, where are you?
Right here.
I saw another shadow on this wall.
Yeah. Well, I heard movement over here. Could you please, don't run from us. Please come over here and talk to us. Right over here. We can try to help you, but you got to give us a sign that you're here with us, that you want our help.
That sounds suspiciously like a mouse.
Yeah, it does.
Could that have been the movement you heard?
It's possible.
Oh my gosh.
What? You getting scared?
No, temperature drops. It felt a little chilled here for a minute. I had a cold spot right around me.
Can you touch one of us? We're waiting to be scared. What's the matter? Can't breathe?
Yeah, I'm just having a lot of trouble breathing up here. Is there a reason why you're hiding? Because honestly, I mean, there's not much we can do to hurt you. There's really nothing we can do to hurt you. But there are things that you can do to tease and mess around with us. And you know this.
Yeah, like slam a door. Make something happen. Please. We're waiting.
Temperature went back up. It dropped down to about 74, went back up to 78. There's definitely no breezes coming in here.
I don't know, Jen. I'm not sure they're capable. That or they're sleeping. Hey, Jen, you want to test something?
Sure.
Why don't you go sit or go stand in the pink bathroom?
Okay. I'm going to use one-worded phrases because if there is something here, then we can hopefully they might actually be able to pick up one of these words and respond. I'll start out with a name. Helen. Lonely.
M word. M word.
Marriage.
Murder.
Murder.
Scream that bad boy out.
Murder!
I keep on feeling like something's right there.
Like on the stairs?
Just right in there.
I mean, I was reading a 0.5, but that's really hard to tell. Wait, whoa, 3? Eric. Did you hear that? Did you?
No.
Sounded like just like a footstep on gravel. When we were walking up the stairs, I had us jump to 2, but
Did you hear a clicking noise over there?
yeah. Over there?
Yeah. Are you in here?
What?
Hey, was that you?
Eric?
Was that you, Sean?
Yeah, it felt like someone touched my head. Not a breeze. Somebody here with me?
Hey, Sean.
What?
Something just grabbed my left ankle.
Where are you at?
Over here.
Yeah, when I was over there, it felt like someone lightly touched my head.
I was coming through here and I saw that chair and I kind of stopped. It felt like something went like this.
Really?
Yeah. Then I was like, but nothing there.
There it was again.
Where?
Right there. Shadow. And I'm not talking about, a thin, faint shadow. I'm talking about dark. I mean, like,
Did it look 2D or 3D or?
it looked like my shadow right there, so. See that? Except I was standing still.
Yeah, I wasn't
So I
moving either.
move over top of the thing.
What's that?
I don't know.
You hear it?
Yeah. Almost like a wheezing sound.
Uh-huh.
Coming from over there, by the flashlight, actually.
Is there anything anybody wants to say before we leave? Say it now.
What was that? Hear that?
It was down there, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like someone banging on
It
something.
would have been up, right?
Wait, hold on. No. It sounded like someone banged on a door, a metal door. It sounded like. I need something. Is this metal? Like, Like that?
Yeah.
If that was you trying to get our attention.
Is this metal too?
Mm-hmm.
See, it sounded more metal, so.
Robin,
Yeah.
come here. I'm not sure I want to. What's the matter?
There's just something about this closet.
If you're talking, can you speak louder so we can hear you?
Okay, I heard a male voice. Damn train. It's really hot. Are you hot up here? Because I'm hot up here. It just spiked to 1.5.
Dare you to sit on that mattress.
No.
Dare you to sit on that toilet.
How much you give me?
Give you a whole lot of respect.
Yeah. Just taste of dust down here. Can you let me know of your presence if you're here with me now? Maybe you died before you got to the execution, or maybe after the execution you came back to your cell, or you still wander this place.
You okay?
Jesus.
What happened?
Ow. Man, I felt like I may have been shoved. Man, that cracked my arm good. I don't know if I lost my balance or I was shoved. Caught myself on the bar here, though. Oh, that was interesting. You need to shove me again. You need to push me. You need to do something now to let me know that you do not want me here. All right, so maybe maybe you are a little bit chicken. Push me and you run. I don't even know where you're at. I can't see you because you won't make yourself known to me. I'm gonna count to 3, and then I want you to drag your ass over here, and I want you to show me who you are. 1, 2, 3. Just what I thought. Little chicken shit.
While we're in tech, we always log events that we think could be paranormal. So we write down the times and what we saw. And it's very important because later when we review the evidence, it makes it quicker to go through the evidence and clarify whether it was paranormal or just, a dust orb or something.
During our session in West Cell Block with Scott, I heard what appeared to be someone running down that hallway, repetitive footsteps, one after the other. I went down there to investigate. I didn't see anything, so not sure what it was, but it sure did sound like footsteps.
Me and Eric were walking around on the first floor of solitary, and at first Eric felt like something touched his head, like someone actually rubbed their hand on his head. Then probably about 10 minutes later, it felt like someone touched the top of my head also.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was like a wolf spider or something that plopped on my head, because it felt like little fingers massaging the top. And I kind of freaked out for a second, brushed it, but nothing was there. I was walking down one side, and Sean was walking on the other side. As I was walking past the cell, it felt like something grabbed my right ankle. And it kind of startled me.
For example, like Mansfield being a prison, we used a pack of cigarettes, candy bars, money, weapons, obviously not real, but you know, something that looks enticing. And by doing this, we can sometimes get a response or get some kind of activity by putting this trigger item out and offering it to them. And we did try that, but I don't think we got much out of that.
Religion. We use a little EVP technique by saying just one word. It's said that spirits and ghosts can only hear so much of what we're saying. So we tried to use keywords like, you know, murder, death, sadness, different things like that to see if we can trigger some kind of response, even if it was a one-word phrase that they were kind of trying to communicate with us somehow.
Well, Jen and I were in the chapel. One of the words I chose was penance. Immediately after I said the word penance, we saw a shadow to the right of us, where we both noted on camera.
We both actually saw what looked to be kind of like a shorter shadow at the end of one of the pews. It kind of like popped up and then disappeared really quickly, but we didn't have a camera on it, so at this point it was only a personal experience.
While Eric and I were investigating the west cell block, both of us caught sight at various times of a kind of shadowy figure moving back and forth on the second tier of the cell block. It appeared to be racing up and down the walkway that was there. We never got a very clear look at it. It was just a shadowy figure that seemed to dart around.
When Robin and I were up in the admin wing doing some EVP work, I actually heard what sounded like a male voice. It was very faint. I couldn't make out what it said at the time, but unfortunately when we went back to listen to it, we didn't capture anything.
There was a very strange experience we had actually where I kept seeing a shadow in the light coming in from the outside. Again, both Eric and I saw this shadow. It almost appeared to be sneaking around behind us at times.
In the library, Scott and I were doing an investigation up there, and a very odd thing, I've not really had anything like this happen to me. Started to walk forward, and it felt like something was there. I wouldn't say a steel bar, but it felt like something was blocking my legs. I felt it on both legs simultaneously. Not quite sure what that was, but it was an interesting personal experience.
When me and Eric were finishing up our session down in solitary, we were starting to walk away, and then we heard like a metal knock or bang on a door or something. So we went to go and try and recreate it by banging on various objects. And sure enough, it sounded exactly like what we heard.
What was that?
Another interesting piece of evidence that we captured was what appeared to be a scream. It was a little bit in the distance, so we're not quite sure. It could have been contamination from the outside, but being the size of this place and being where we were at the time, yeah, I'm unlikely to believe that it could have been outside contamination. It did sound like it was coming from the inside somewhere.
In the admin area, when Robin and I were doing an EVP session, I actually measured, it was only a 2-degree temperature drop, but I actually felt really, really chilled. And then it warmed back up, and then it went back up to the baseline temperature that we had in the room, which I can't say it's paranormal, but it was interesting.
I felt like I was shoved. And when I was, my arm, I put my arm up to block it because I didn't want to have my face hit the bars. And right here on my arm, I landed on the front cell bar. And I'll tell you, it really felt like I was shoved. I have been pushed slightly in the past, nothing like this. In my conclusion, there's a good possibility that I actually did get shoved.
It was after the investigation during the wrap-up. I was on the 5th floor, and I yelled down to Robin and Sean to bring up a knife so I could cut the zip ties. Well, up at the top of the 5th floor, the rails are a little lower, and they had a yellow rope a little higher up. I was resting my chin on my hand on the rail, and the rope that was up above, I mean, there's probably about that much of a difference, and I was like right here. The rope came down and on the top of my head, and enough that, you know, it turned my head sideways. I decided I better sit down in case The thing wanted to toss me over.
We did capture a couple of anomalies, one in the infirmary and one in the chapel. They're dubbed sparkles by some. A lot of times they will appear in 2 or 3 frames of video, and there'll be a bright flash. Many times you'll actually hear a little crack of sound after them. And what this appears to be is some kind of energy burst. Now what we think it may be is something to do with a spirit trying to manifest energy, collecting that energy, but maybe not enough to actually do what its intentions were, such as move an object or an EVP or even appear as an apparition. They could be something as simple as a static discharge buildup in the room from excessive negative ions or other types of energy material.
Overall, I enjoyed Mansfield. The architecture is beautiful, the history is great. Overall, it is just a great experience.
All I really have to say about Mansfield is that the structure is just amazing. There's so many areas to cover. It really would be worth going back, not even on a paranormal investigation, but just a tour and just to learn more about the history.
As human beings, we look at things in terms of stories. In the case of Mansfield Reformatory, there are a lot of stories about it, and there are some genuine experiences that go along with it. But a lot of what goes on there is also by reputation. It's because of those stories that we tell about the place and that we hear about the place that when people go there, they start expecting to see things happening. They start filling in the blanks for themselves. There's a lot of genuine history that was associated with the place. There's a lot of genuine tragedy that was associated with the place. And there's absolutely evidence of paranormal happenings there. But the convergence of all 3 of those things makes for a very unique location and a unique experience.